Hello, I'm Rami Ranger and welcome to the program The Gems of Asia. आज हमारे बीच एक इतने बड़े जेम हैं जिनकी इंट्रोडक्शन क्या दें, उनको कौन नहीं जानता। वो है बहुत बड़े एशियन जेम मोनी वर्मा, चेयरमैन ऑफ वीटी राइस। मोनी जी, वेलकम टू द प्रोग्राम द जेम्स ऑफ एशिया and thank you for giving us your time. I know you were watching golf, we had to drag you. So please tell us, how did you arrive at the VT Rice, because we all know you as a chairman of the VT Rice for giving us the best rice money can buy. So please tell us, how did you get to this level?
For a start, Rami, thank you very much for inviting me on this lovely program. I'm not fully acquainted with your audience. I don't know who they are. But for what it's worth, let me start from the beginning. I used to live in southern Africa. My parents were in a country called Malawi. And I studied there by and large. I studied a bit in India, but I studied there. And I wanted to come to the UK to do law. It just so happened that I got into some kind of a job which led me into a business. And that business was steel related. So I ended up manufacturing barbed wire, chain link mesh, wire products, reinforcement mesh.
Ideal for Africa.
Very, very good for Africa because all of those
required.
Very much
for
a developing
security
part of the world. And that business just grew from strength to strength, and I never looked back. And perhaps I do regret that I didn't go ahead and do the law because it's always nice to have a fallback situation. Fortunately,
you never need to fall back.
Fortunately, I have not needed it so far anyway. But in the 10, 12 years that I remained in business in Africa, there were problems that you made a lot of money and you could never be sure that it was yours tomorrow because most of those countries were dictatorial. Yeah, very, very unstable, right? And quite dictatorial. And there were two boys in the family, my elder brother and myself, so we decided that one of us must leave and set up something overseas.
In a stable country.
In a stable environment. Now, when I got married to my wife Shobha, she lived here. When I took her back to Africa, I don't think she really wanted it. We had a luxurious lifestyle, plenty of servants and good houses, swimming pools, the works. But I don't think she really wanted that kind of lifestyle. So fortunately for me, she wanted to be back here, and she was prepared to come and set up home again without the servants and without the trappings. And I did come back here, and I started from scratch, by and large.
And you gave her exactly what you had in Africa in London, I might add.
I have been very lucky. However, getting back to the rice business, whilst when I did come back to the UK, I tried to set up something in steel. And I was busy negotiating with a steel company, a public company, and we just couldn't agree on a sort of a partnership. And I was intending to take over two companies in the UK. But in the 4 or 5 months that I've been here, some relatives of mine in India who were in rice, and they were a big public company at one stage, Thapar Agro Mills. Right. Now they were into rice, into wheat flour, into steel, into oil, and they did a whole variety of things. But one of the major products was rice. So they approached me.
Would you take over?
Yeah, no, they were more with a view to getting them an entry into this market. They could see rice, emerging.
Growing market.
Yeah, a growing market here with the ethnic populations moving,
from
various parts of Africa. Now my knowledge about rice was what I'd seen in Africa. I thought a pound of rice and a pound of sugar. That's not what I really wanted to do. And that's what I thought they were asking me to do, to get them a break, to sell a container or 2 or 3 containers here. And my background was industry. I'd actually gone into manufacturing corrugated iron sheets, a lot of steel products. But fortunately, I went around to meet or lined up some appointments for them, and I invited them over. I couldn't say no. They were very close relatives, and in fact, the only sister that I have in India, her husband, it's that family. So with the relationship that we have, we can hardly afford to say no.
Yes, family comes first.
Right. So anyway, I invited them over. I set up some appointments for them. But in that 24-hour period when I took them around to visit 3 or 4 prospective rice buyers, one or two of whom were millers, I realized that there's a big gap in the market here. And Basmati, that market was growing, it was emerging rather. But generally, to protect rice growers in
Subcontinent?
no, in Italy and Spain, the EEC levied a very high duty. So the import duty on rice was as high as about 400 pounds. But if you actually brought the rice in semi-milled, so that is brown instead of white, you brought in brown rice, you saved about 200 pounds on duty.
Fantastic.
Now, if you spent about 100 pounds or 150 pounds milling and refining it here, you could still make about 50 pounds a ton or thereabouts. Now, whatever the figures were, I don't remember at this stage. But I do know when I did the exercise, break even for us, for the investment that we were putting, the break even was less than about 4,000 to 5,000 tons. And I thought that was an achievable target. Now, it is after that visit to the various importers and one or two millers that I realized that my relatives are not really looking at me for giving them support to sell a pound of sugar and a pound of rice. They were looking at me for industry, actually helping them set up an industry. That is the start of VT rice. Now, you know, quite a departure from steel, but I was not daunted, and I was looking at, I was doing a bit of steel trading. So I took this, grasped this opportunity, and we went into a partnership, and that's where the name VT, Verma and Thapar.
Oh, I see. Right. Verma and Thapar is VT.
That's right. So that is, for the lack of anything better at that point in time, we hurriedly set up this VT. Mm-hmm. It is our flagship. Our names are involved. So obviously,
you have to be really protective of your brand.
The product that goes into that brand must be the very best.
What I've noticed, having seen VT rice in the street markets and everything, you're very particular about the presentation. You're always coming up with innovation in packaging and design, and you're miles ahead with your competitors. Where do you get this inspiration?
Rami, I think, you know, the intent was always to do the same thing but better, right? Rice is rice, and I don't think I can add something to it just now to make it, you know, something different from anyone else, other than doing the same thing better. So if it's the quality of the rice or the grading of the rice or you know, picking the crop, the very best that we can find. And of course packaging goes with it, the marketing element goes with it as well. So we're always trying, you know, always trying to stay a step ahead.
We have seen, you know, one or two your jars, containers with handles and lids and resealable, ideal for housewives.
Absolutely, and so very, very good for the caterer as well, very good for the housewives because you'd have to decant any of these flexible packaging into a more sturdier pack in the kitchens, spillage.
Yes. How important is quality for VT rice? I mean, do you have a special quality control people that this particular rice will only do the VT grade, the other one will reject?
Absolutely. It's you know, quality is all too important, I might add. And it starts way back in India. With Basmati, it starts right back in India. So from the time that we go into the mandis, the various marketplaces, right, identifying stacks of paddy that we want to buy as a group, we identify what we think we would need for VT. So by and large, what the farmers will tell you, what is seed quality, what is the extra long grain, right? And after that, after identifying the extra long grain, we put it through the system, we grade off all the lesser and the smaller grains. Then we ensure that the cookability of the rice is good as well. And then we mature it. Now, you know, there's a lot of interest, a lot of expense added because there are millions of dollars worth of stocks, which we don't necessarily sell until about 6 or 7 months later.
I see. So you have to buy, store, grade, then bring them to
the market.
But how do you make sure that the quality in India, because we hear a lot of stories about India that you'll get good quality now and next day or few months down the road they will try to compromise. I mean, do you have your own people in India who actually control each and everything?
Rami, we have about 400 people in India.
My goodness.
So we've quite a large contingent. Yes. But since having started VT here, let me just tell you that we went back into India. One of the main reasons for doing so was to control the quality and to have, you know, have a continuous supply, because there were times, there were years, the Basmati was in short supply. So sometimes you had it, sometimes you didn't have it. And the idea was to go and set up and buy enough that you require for the year. But we've gone on, not only from India, we've gone on to also control, to set up a mill in Pakistan for the same reason, that both these countries are suppliers of basmati, and I believe that if we are in rice and well established, and if we are going to do a meaningful service in rice, then we must have our presence in all these basmati growing areas.
So right from the farm to the table, the control of VT team is there for people to get optimum quality rice.
Indeed, I just missed your point that you asked me about the quality and how we ensure that. You know, when rice is grown, the winds will blow certain grain from one field to another. Not necessarily all the fields are growing basmati rice. So you'll have 3-4% admixture that are contrasting varieties coming into basmati. Now that is permissible, but it's when traders
10%.
When traders are lending nature a helping hand.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And that is what we avoid. So when we go to the marketplace now, the rice business is tricky. When you go to the marketplaces, there are heaps, piles of rice that we identify, piles of paddy we identify as being good paddy. We bid for it, we take that, it's cleaned overnight, put into sacks, and then it's trucked to our factory in India. But from that time, and from the time that we leave the marketplaces, the local commission agent will do all kinds of tricks. So he might add a little bit of non-basmati in the middle of the bag. So every bag, every sack of paddy that comes into our factory, we sample it on in three different areas in one sack, in 160 kilo sack. So we'll take a sample from the top, we'll take a sample from the middle, and we'll take a sample from the bottom.
True.
And we find one sack that has been adulterated, the whole truck goes back.
Fantastic.
Now that is big enough punishment for any commission agent.
Yeah, so next time they're very careful. After listening to Moni's commitment for quality, let's find out about Moni himself. Moni ji, now we're going to ask you about you as a student. You said you came to this study and you didn't complete your law. Were your parents disappointed?
No, I didn't even come to study here. I started business there as soon as I finished my schooling. No, my parents, my father was a bit disappointed, yes, but he could see, within about a year, I was...
you were doing okay, so he forgave you?
I was doing fairly well.
So he forgave you. Tell me, you're a very successful businessman. What is the role of family, especially Shobhaji? How much backing, support you get from your family?
You asked about Shobhaji, you asked about my wife. I think that is a paramount role, because she's given me so much of tranquility. I never have to worry about my home. I never really have to worry about what goes on at home. She's controlled that. So she gives me all the free time to concentrate and spend in pursuit of whatever I'm trying to achieve. So the family is very important. I think, ask those that don't have families. I think if you place them, their place is paramount.
You're very passionate about young people. Wherever you go, you champion the cause of young people. The young people need to come forward. Why do you have so much passion for young people?
I do because I think, more by luck than by judgment, I've made it here, right? And if I could make it, I think these guys can take, the same thing 10 times further than most of us have achieved. Now, I have a passion for the youngsters because I find some of them are brilliant. They've got a good platform, they've got good education, and I came from a country where there was a lot of calabar in those days, and we've broken all barriers. I've never faced it personally, but we've broken all sorts of barriers. We've achieved, and I cannot see why these youngsters cannot go miles, further. Now, I'm referring to the Asian youngsters.
Yes.
But generally, I would say to any youngster, regardless of race, color, or creed, that it's nice
to bring your talent out. Hidden talent is no talent.
Absolutely, it's nice to dream. It's nice to dream. It's nice to have a dream. And then some people just like the idea of doing things. There are others who go out and try it. Now, until you've tried it, you won't know.
You're a role model for many Asians. Yes, in particularly thousands of people who know Moni. You are a role model. What is your message to those who know you and who like to emulate you?
Well, my message to all those is that you must be you must remain happy and do all those things that make you very happy, because you only have one life, right? However, I think money and the lack of it is not necessarily an obstacle, but if you can go ahead and try, take a challenge, try and the easiest way of putting it is take a risk in life. If you can only afford to take a risk of £10,000, take a risk, because you don't know what you stand to lose if you don't take that risk. Means if I hadn't taken the risk, or many risks subsequently, I wouldn't have made the millions that I'm associated with. I can't see them.
Would you say nothing venture, nothing gain, and unless you take a risk, you don't have the experience?
Absolutely. Because I think you stand to lose a lot more by not taking the risk.
You'll regret it one day. I wish I'd done that. I wish I'd done that. Absolutely. So might as well, if you have an idea, put it in practice. Now, where is the vision as a businessman? You also take part in a lot of cultural events, social events in the community. What is your vision for the community, Asian community? Because you are a gem, and we are proud to have somebody like Moni Verma, who has brought respect to our community with his hard work. You work hard, we get the credit. This is a great achievement for being an Asian, because if people like you were not successful, other Asians will not get taken seriously. Today, you are pioneers, people like you, others who have shown the world that don't underestimate Asian. They have got determination to succeed against all odds. So please tell me, what would you tell, how you see your role in 4 or 5 years down the road? Where will you like to see yourself?
Rami, my own role, my vision is that I would like to see our Asians putting back into this country, quite a bit of what is given.
Fantastic.
To us, right?
Very good idea.
And if we can do that, we will demonstrate that, this is our home, right? First and foremost. And I'd like to see more people like yourself. For instance, you're getting into mainstream politics, right? And I cannot see why most of you should not succeed. And I cannot see why, perhaps in my own lifetime, I should not see a nation become a prime minister one day.
So in other words, what you say, you must take part in public and political life of a great country which has given us so much. Let's put something back. Let's not be fair weather friends.
Absolutely.
And as you rightly said, even if you don't succeed, but you will undoubtedly lay the foundation for other people to walk on that path one day. So, now, are you involved in sports? I see you're a passionate golfer. You spend a lot of time. How Shobhaji feels about you taking up so much time playing golf?
She quite likes it. I think if given a chance, she'd like to play golf herself. But one of us has got to look after the family, right? No, I think sports has always been part of my life. I come from Southern Africa. The environment was such that 5 o'clock everything came to a standstill. So club life was pretty active. So I played hockey and cricket in my young days. I played a bit of football. I only stopped playing hockey and cricket about 5, 6 years ago when my knees gave up. I still like to support the Indian Gymkhana, and I would like to tell your audience that anyone of you who is interested in sport, you try and go and support the Indian Gymkhana, because that's an institution belonging to us.
Correct. It gives chance to our own people.
Absolutely. But then I went back to golf. I played golf in Africa in my younger days, a little bit of it, but I play it fairly well.
Do you find golf relaxing, giving you ideas?
It gives you a different kind of stress, but it's very relaxing, extremely. And fortunately, golf is one game where you've got to switch everything else off. So your phones are not allowed, and you will not discuss business unless you're doing a deal with the guy who's actually playing with you, and that's always possible too. Yeah. But it does give you opportunity to relax and unwind.
How many children do you have?
2 children. My daughter is 21. She graduated yesterday. We're all thrilled.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And my son is 18.
Are they going to VT Rice business, or are they going to do their own thing?
Well, I hope that one of them at least would like to come and join me, but one never can tell. Signs right now look very doubtful.
Well, children like to do their own thing and prove their own self.
Right.
I sometimes wonder. Now, we are coming to the final parts of our program where I will ask you your liking, your disliking. So first of all, I need to know, what is your star sign?
Aquarius. And I remember I was supposed to say something in Hindi.
Hindi mein bataएं.
Aquarius. I don't know how to translate that in Hindi, but Aquarius is
Aquarius, I think we can understand.
21st of Jan.
Achha. Apart from making rice, popular in Britain, across the world, now you're exporting. What is your favorite food?
My favorite food, rice here.
Yeah.
Has to be rice, although most Punjabis, I'm sorry, I should go back to Hindi. Punjabi आमतौर तो रोटी खाते हैं ज़्यादा,
चपाती बहुत खाते हैं,
मगर मेरे को चावल पसंद है, चावल ही पसंद है.
I think I also enjoy your rice, especially when I get them free.
Thank you.
Now, who's your favorite actor?
Favorite actor, Dilip Kumar.
And actress,
female actress, I think one of the younger ones,
yes.
the newcomers. I think Aishwarya Rai.
She's done very well. Yeah, she's done very well. Your favorite sportsman? Apart from Tiger Woods? Because I know you're going to say that. You're a golfer.
Apart from Tiger Woods, I would say Sachin Tendulkar.
Oh, he's a hitter. He's a hitter. Your favorite color?
Red. I think you can see many of the VT.
Yes. It's a very, very striking color you choose. That shows your personality. You're a dynamic man. And your favorite spot for holidays? Where would you like to go?
Where would I like to go? South Africa.
You like to go? It's a lovely place, South Africa. They've done very well.
Cape Town particularly. Yeah.
And your favorite politician?
Tony Blair. I'm sorry, and I don't think you want to hear that.
No. Tony Blair. Yes. Whatever you like, it's your show.
No, I admire him.
What message would you like to give to the Asian community? You've already given them that they should take part in mainstream politics and public life. Any other message you have for them that they should work hard? And
the message I'd like to give them is that nothing is insurmountable. Nothing is not within our reach. I think we must really go out and grab it and try and grab it. If we haven't tried, I think we will never know whether we could succeed or not. But let's try and grab it, and let's do it with dignity, a lot of respect, and let's, there are shortcuts to everything. But I think there is no substitute for being able to hold your head up high when you've achieved, and achieved in the right manner.
In other words, efforts are in the hand of man, achievements are in the hand of God. Absolutely. You put your sincere effort. Moni ji, thank you very much for coming to the program. ये थे हमारे गेस्ट मोनी वर्मा, चेयरमैन ऑफ वीटी राइस. नेक्स्ट वीक आपकी सेवा में फिर हाजिर होंगे एक और जेम के साथ.